Let's see. The Federal Reserve dilutes the M2 money supply by printing notes of debt or just putting zeros and ones into people's account. And the next time you go to the store, the prices are sky high. This should only be looked at by Americans as criminal activity and
dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
People ask how an old codger like me stays in shape. The fact is, 80% of being healthy is what you cram or don't cram into your pie hole. You've probably already heard of the ketogenic or keto diet. To sum it up, it's a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet that forces your body to burn fat rather than the glucose or simple sugars that so many people are addicted to. The bottom line is this kind of diet works. And I use Keto Elevate because it's specifically designed to help quickly and efficiently raise your ketone levels so you can reap the major benefits of the keto diet lifestyle. And guys, this isn't just an ad. This stuff really works. Use my link in the description, ketowithflix.com, and get 51% off while supplies last.
U.S. braces for higher inflation. You know, it's that inflation that we've been telling you for a long time. You guys know it. You guys already know. This inflation's coming. It can't not come. You can't completely, trash the M2 money supply and completely dilute it and expect that your dollars are going to continue buying the same size jar of peanut butter or the same size loaf of bread or the same, amount of land as it did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. The U.S. is trialing ways. Listen how they say this. The U.S. is trialing ways of bracing the American public for higher inflation rates. What's another word for inflation? Taxation. What's another word for taxation? Theft. Inflation is the hidden tax, guys. They're actually stealing the value of your time and labor and energy without even coming to your house. Because I don't know if I told you this. When I first moved to Oklahoma, a 2x4 cost $1. A 2x4 by, what was it? A 2x4 by 8 Doug fir was $1.68. No? It was either $1.28 or $1.60. It was $1.68. It was $1.68 for a 2x4 by 8. I was in Lowe's the other day, 3 weeks ago? A 2x4 was $6.18. That is crazy, crazy inflation. I could put $1.68 on the counter and get a 2x4. Now, if I put $1.68 to get a 2x4, they laugh at me. Okay, let me give you $2.68. Nope, still not enough. $3.68. Nope. $4.68. Nope. $5.68. You're getting warmer. $6.68. You're kidding me. That's how they steal the wealth from you. It takes more and you get less. That means if it takes more, that means it takes you more time at work. It takes you more laboring energies. It takes you more thinking power. They're just sapping us, man. Just draining of us of our time and labor. They're stealing your time. They're stealing your labor. They're stealing your energy. They're stealing your mental capacity. The U.S. is trialing ways of bracing the American public for higher inflation rates as a fresh presidency attempts to heal an economy crippled by the ongoing... No, it hasn't been crippled by this, guys. The economy has not been crippled by a beer bug. It has not. It was crippled by the Fed. It's crippled by the IMF. It's crippled by the IRS. It's crippled by Washington's District of Criminals. But it's not crippled by the invisible cerveza bug. It's crippled by government. They crippled it, and now they're looking for ways for you to buy into their solution. It's the Hegelian dialectic. It always is. It always has been. Why would they do anything different? It works perfectly, as if it was newly minted. Let's look at this. Look how it ends. The U.S. is trialing ways of bracing the American public for higher inflation rates as a fresh presidency attempts to heal an economy crippled by the ongoing, you know what, according to the Federal Reserve. Well, we know they'll always tell us the truth. Thank you, Federal Reserve. You are God. You could never lie to us. That's another thing about religion. Religion prepares you to buy this BS right here. The state is a religion. Government is a religion. You have to buy into the belief that politicians are something that you aren't, that they have power that you don't. They have rights that none of the rest of us have. Really? Where did they get those rights? Aren't they people like us? Or have they descended from Zeus's mold on Mount Olympus? Did they fall like stars out of heaven, like the gods we think they are? That's how we're treating them. It's like, oh, okay, they said we can't have guns. Well, they have their own security detail full with agents who know Brazilian jiu-jitsu and carry around automatic firearms. Oh, okay. All right. They write laws that all of us that have to follow because they have the moral high ground. Oh, okay. Because that's what our 15,000-hour indoctrination program tells us. Just obey your authorities. Minutes released from today from a lengthy policy meeting held by the U.S. Central Bank last month. Anytime they hold a meeting, you know it's just going to benefit us greatly, isn't it? Yeah, just go to sleep, Barney. Mayberry will be just fine because the U.S. Central Bank is meeting on our behalf. And you know when they get out of that meeting, everything's going to be all right. Revealed that Fed officials were prepared to keep their easy monetary policy. Sorry, I thought that said easy money policy. Oh, that's right, it does. They were prepared to keep their easy monetary policy. What is that? Pumping liquidity into the market. That's quantitative easing. That's creating things that don't exist and pretending that they have value. And then the things that really don't have value or even do have value become more and more and more expensive, which is going to cost you more of your time and laboring energies. Basically, what the Federal Reserve is saying here, if you're going to wipe away all the euphemisms, the problem that we created is going to cause you to work longer, work harder, for less and less and less because of what we did to you. And then they get to blame it on the invisible pandemic. They get to blame it on a boogeyman. It's always the boogeyman's fault. By the way, the guy who's always saying it's the boogeyman's fault, it's that guy's fault. The guy who's pointing his finger, oh, it's because of the terrorists. It's because of the drug dealers. So we need a war on terror, and we need a war on drugs, and we need to declare war on the convids 1984s. The guy who's doing the war declaration is the warmonger. That's the one who's your enemy. The guy who's trying to say public enemy number one is drug addiction and abuse.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse. In order to fight and defeat this enemy, it is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive. If we're going to have a successful offensive, we need more money. Consequently, I'm asking the Congress for $155 million in new funds, which will bring the total amount this year in the budget for drug abuse, both in enforcement and treatment, to over $350 million. As far as the new money is concerned, incidentally, I have made it clear to the leaders that if this is not enough, if more can be used, if Dr. Jaffe, after studying this problem, finds that we can use more, more will be provided. In order to defeat this enemy, which is causing such great concern, and correctly so to so many American families, money will be provided to the extent that it is necessary and to the extent that it will be useful.
Therefore, we've set out to create a war on drugs, which isn't a war on drugs, it's a war on people. We know who the terrorists are, and we're going to get the terrorists. Therefore, we've declared a war on terror. And we've helped ourselves to your stuff to such an extent that we have a 300-page report printed by PNAC 9 months before 9/11 that's called the Patriot Act. And we're going to use this Patriot Act to declare a fresh new alphabet agency called the Department of Homeland Security. A subset of that will be the brown shirts. Sorry, blue shirts. They're going to have blue shirts, not brown. Hey, strike brown out of there and put blue. Just make them have blue shirts, because if they have blue shirts, then they won't be equated with the brown shirts. And if they're not equated with the brown shirts and we got to see your papers, then they won't think about the Nuremberg trials and all that stuff that happened at the concentration camps. That's all just messy. Just make it blue shirts. The Patriot Act, Department of Homeland Security, is now $60 billion a year. Offshoot of that is the TSA, $9 billion a year. They can't even pass their own federal red team test where federal agents go in there unawares, getting loaded firearms and explosives onto departing flights 95% of the time. It's just pathetic. It's security theater. Security theater. I don't even call the TSA the blue shirts anymore. They're the brown shirts. We're all just colorblind. We refuse to learn from history. Newly elected president. Oh, yeah. They're prepared to keep their, I just keep wanting to say easy money, easy monetary policy on track to help the ailing American job market. What? Daddy, why is the American job market ailing? Well, you got to understand, son, there's a parasitic organization that was set up back in 1913 under the oversight of Woodrow Wilson. Now, these bankers, son, a couple years before that, met at this place called Jekyll Island in Georgia. Matter of fact, there's a plaque you can go to that's on the wall right now, and it says the Federal Reserve was born in this room. Well, the Federal Reserve, which is not a government organization, but it didn't even matter if it was. It's just a cartel of privately held banks. And there was a guy a couple hundred years ago named Amschel Rothschild, and he said, give me control over a nation's money, and I care not who makes its law. And Woodrow Wilson goes, okay, I'll give you control over our nation's money. So son, I got to tell you, America went down, way, way down in 1913. That's who the Federal Reserve is. And that's what's happening with the ailing. That's why the job market is ailing, by the way. They control everything. It's that monopoly board. It's that J.P. Morgan mustache monopoly board with the top hat and the cane. He's the guy in control. He owns Park Place. He owns every piece on the board, every card, he owns the jails. Newly elected. How about newly selected? Let's just change this article a little bit. Newly selected President Joe Biden has pledged to inject $1.9 trillion fiscal stimulus package dollars to pull the U.S. economy out of the throes of the coronavirus. Now, what if you and I decided to print ourselves out of our own troubles and our own debt? What do you think the federal government, do you think you'd get a knock on the door for something called, I don't know, what is that called? Counterfeiting? You can't counterfeit, but the government can. You can't steal, but the government can. You can't abuse and harass and threaten people and kill them, but the government can. Oh, the government can. The government can. 'Cause he floods it with money to make himself feel good. I know, that sucked. But we can come up with something better. So the newly selected President Joe Biden has pledged to inject $1.9 trillion. Isn't that nice of him to pledge somebody else's money? Hey, just kick that can down the road. Let's abuse more of the future unborn posterity out there. So let's go and pound them into banker debt and for about the next 350,000 years. That's what it is. You're basically stealing from people who aren't even born yet. Ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And it's not money. These are notes of debt. When you're looking at those bills in your wallet, that's not money. It's fiction. That's why Bastiat said the state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. However, Fed officials are concerned Biden's stimulus package could accelerate higher inflation trends. Really? You weren't too concerned when Trump signed that $6.2 trillion. This is 6.2. I never signed anything with a T on it before. Steve Mnuchin's back there. Mitch McConnell, Mr. Pufflump, Mr. Donald Trump. The Fed has set a maximum inflation target of 2% this year as prices are expected that's price fixing. Expected to bounce amid the economy's pandemic recovery. Annual inflation is currently about 1.3% in the U.S. That is so freaking suppressed, guys. That is so suppressed. Every time we go to the store, it's like, wow, we're getting less and less, and it's costing more and more. This is crazy. Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren. Whoa. Let's see, what's the significance of that? A Rosengren. Let's see. Fed President Rosengren. Greenspan. Bernanke. Yellen. I don't know. It escapes me. I don't know. said this afternoon that inflation is unlikely to hit the central bank's target on a sustained basis in the coming year, though he warned prices will likely jump as restrictions are lifted in the U.S. In the coming months, quote, we are going to see somewhat of a pickup inflation. That's a nice way to put it. In other words, we're going to steal more time and more laboring energies from you, Mr. and Mrs. America, while you go ahead and you're down here arguing about table scraps and who gets what and if we're going to raise the minimum wage and talking about Medicare and Medicaid for all and the CONVID's 1984's illusion, smokescreen, window dressing, while we're over here doing our little banker hocus pocus. Food and energy prices may go up as certain areas of the economy are facing. Have you seen meat prices, man? What are they up, like 43% now? It's ridiculous, man. It's off the charts. Off the charts. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of this. It's just disheartening.
Guys, don't forget to take a second right now and click that invitation link in the description and in the pinned comment and follow me on my Odyssey channel. Check this out. This is my Odyssey channel right here. And when you click on my invitation link, you're going to be rewarded 3 library tokens, 3 LBC tokens worth 19 cents each. And let me just show you this. On December 11th, this token was only worth 0.009 cents. Now it's worth 19.5 cents. It's like a 1,000 or 1,300% increase just since December 11th. So you're going to be awarded and rewarded 3 LBC tokens just for subscribing to my channel and verifying your account. And when you watch videos, any video you watch, any channel you watch on Odyssey, you're going to be rewarded also with more LBC tokens. LBC is a real cryptocurrency with real value. I will see you guys on Odyssey.
Thousands of people are now struggling to put food on their table.
A sea of cars jammed into a parking lot in San Antonio. More than 10,000 families waiting their turn at a local food bank. Similar scenes are taking place in cities across the country. In Pittsburgh, the line of motorists stretches more than a mile.
Hey guys, before I start this video, I just want to remind you, if you don't have a 6-month supply per person in your household of long-term storable dry food, you need to get some from somewhere. We already know they're going to do an economic reset, a currency reset, and a food reset. And if you don't have enough food for everybody in your family and you're out there with everybody else scrambling around at the last minute trying to get some, it's going to be too late. You can get it from me. It's $100 off instantly right here on this website right here, or just get it from anybody. My link is in the description below and in the pinned comment.